From Abuja, the nation's capital, this is Matters Arising, reaching you live from the Abuja studios of King Adebayo Film and Theatre Arts Network, commonly referred to as KAFTAN TV, where we all imagine a beautiful world. Well, Matters Arising is the flagship talk show of KAFTAN TV that features in-depth discussions and analysis of trending, topical, of national as well as international issues by our team of renowned broadcast journalists. My name has not changed. It remains Macaulay Honohashi, saying I profoundly welcome all our esteemed viewers from around the world for joining us this auspicious night on Matters Arising.
My name is Abdul-Wahid Odushile. You're welcome.
Erben Richard, good evening, and please don't touch the dial. We are here to give you the best tonight.
That's right, we promise to give you the best tonight. We are three right here in the studio, but never worry, you out there, you are a part of us. Whether you are 2, 3, or in a cluster, you're still part of us. That's why we don't take your presence out there for granted. We welcome you most profoundly once again to tonight's show, which promises to be engaging, incisive, interactive, as well as conversational. It's going to be conversational because you avail the opportunity to call our line, which will be displayed on the screen later in the course of the show. And the phone number is 002-993-8365. Never worry, jotting it down. It's going to be displayed, like I said, on your screen, but it's going to be later in the course of the show. Well, gentlemen, something profound so happened. And there was this story that was made rounds with regards to KAFTAN TV CEO. Let me remind our viewers that Abdul-Wahid Odushile has been a commissioner, and before then he was the #1 citizen of the pen profession, that does the journalism profession, as an elected president of the Nigerian Union of Journalists. But today he's holding sway at KAFTAN TV as the chief executive officer. He has come under the spotlight negatively recently, because there is a report that has made traction on social media that there is fans advocated for his release after a controversial interview on the KAFTAN TV platform, an organization that he oversees. The report says hundreds of supporters have rallied to defend Abdul-Wahid Odushile following a scandalous incident during the live broadcast of a popular show. Shocked by the government's order to detain him. According to the report, fans are expressing their outrage as charges are brought against Abdul-Wahid Odushile for leaking confidential information that could harm the country's economy. As a result, he has been placed under house arrest, and authorities have strictly prohibited him from accessing the media. They said the incident occurred during the broadcast of the program on channel KAFTAN TV, during which Abdul-Wahid Odushile accidentally revealed an additional source of income. Although this income is legal, according to them, authorities are concerned that disclosing this information could lead to mass layoffs by exposing the income. Well, they have gone ahead to even release the transcript of the so-called interview on their social media, and they also use, and for unsuspecting individuals, that story was embedded in one of the credible national newspapers in the country. Well, Abdul-Wahid Odushile is right here with us as part of the panelists for tonight's conversation on Matters Arising, but he's going to help us unpack this thing as he breaks it down. Were you ever detained by government authorities for a controversial interview? Let me start that way.
Of course, if I was detained or in detention, I wouldn't have been here. And it came as a surprise to me when I heard about it this morning. And it's very interesting viewers to know that I was in the office as usual, and my phone just rang, and my wife was calling me that, "What's happening to you?" And I said, "Like what?" She said, "You have been bombarded by phone calls that maybe I'm in trouble, that I've been detained." I said, "Why? What could be the reason? Could there be anything like that?" Initially, I just dismissed it as one of those things, but I started receiving calls, especially from my state of origin, Ogun State, in Lagos, where I worked for years. Yeah. People were concerned, especially amongst journalists, amongst fellow should I say
that's your immediate constituency?
Yeah, my constituency, and some notable politicians in Ogun State where I had served as a immediate past commissioner for information. They were worried. Will it be true? When I saw that, I had to step out and find out what was really the problem, because I didn't do anything to warrant being arrested or detained or restricted or put in the house arrest or something like that the report said. But I later discovered that maybe one of these Ponzi schemes, and they want to use my name to popularize their illegal activity, illegal business, to attract, to lure Nigerians into patronizing their own business, where they fleece people of unsuspecting Nigerians. People probably are looking for a cheap way to make money and become rich overnight. So they felt probably by using names of prominent people, they could gain attention, and that could draw people to their platform and deceive them to party with their money. That's what I feel anyway. Because there was nothing to it. I wasn't detained. I didn't do anything. And international information that harmed the economy. What kind of information could that be? I've never been anything in terms of probably finance, business, that would say that could bring anything onto us to the nation. I've always been a patriotic Nigerian anyway.
Well, additionally, some of us that are very close to you know that you are a very, very credible Nigerian, doing your own thing your own way. You have never been found wanting, even professionally. But I went through the report and I discovered that the report alleged that you invested 420,000 naira as your first investment, and you make nothing less than between 3 million to 5 million daily. You know, it's so mind-boggling to
you see, you know, one thing is this. When I read the report myself, the first thing that came to my mind was, you know, there was this similar incident where so-called investment whatever company lured Nigerians to put in their hard-earned money into that scheme, and the thing went bust, and they lost their money. And you see, the first question I ask is, why should somebody invest a little? I want to get maybe in multiples of what you invested. That should tell you that something is wrong. Now they said I invested 420,000, and now I'm getting 3 to 5 million naira every day. What kind of business is that? What kind of business gives you 3 to 5 million naira a day?
Every day.
Every day. Then if that is the case, then everybody will do it. But I don't want to popularize this kind of thing, because they're just deceiving Nigerians.
Yes.
So whoever is doing that thing, first I was able to discover that, or during my investigation, that they cloned the website of this national newspaper. I wouldn't want to dignify the perpetrators of this crime by mentioning their name, and even the newspaper that they cloned, because that's what they are looking for.
Yes.
Attention. They want people to hear about them. I won't mention their name, and the newspaper that they have cloned their website. I want to bring them to disrepute. I will also help them to do that to that newspaper. But be that as it may, I think security agencies need to step into this. You see, only God knows how many Nigerians they must have deceived now into parting with their money.
That's true.
And being part of that fraudulent scheme. And you see, one thing we also need to do in journalism as professionals. You see, when I was NUJ president, I did advocate for some measures of control, regulations. But some of our colleagues, they want to muzzle the press. How can free press? This and that. You don't regulate. Okay, now look at what these guys have done.
Exactly.
You can imagine the kind of embarrassment I went through today. People calling me. People who have not called me. I've not spoken to in years. Have they calling me? Is it true this has happened to you? What of the emotional trauma that they put me through since this morning over this matter? So you see, I strongly believe that as professionals, we need to come together and regulate this so-called social media. One can just sit down somewhere and throw some. Can you imagine? They drafted a questionnaire.
Exactly.
Answered the questions themselves. Purportedly, I was the one answering. That was my answer, and they published it. The editing was fantastic.
Fantastic. Very believable.
Yes.
Richard, let me get his views in a few seconds.
Yeah, just like CEO said, I want to align myself with him. Like what has happened, it could be like they are everywhere. These fraudsters, they can come with any means to lure Nigerian unsuspecting citizens into getting involved in some of those. I've been defrauded before. I invested, just like you said, I invested about 3 million. My wife, 2 million. Everything went. So like that, I've been defrauded before. And like he rightly suggested, I will advise him, since he's the one that whose image has been damaged. I can say his image has been damaged. He should officially write a petition against this online fraud department. Then he will submit it to the director of Nigerian Cyber Crime Center.
Okay.
It's a department under the Nigerian police. They will get into the root, those behind the scene operating this, they will get them arrested. And I think that will save a lot, save Nigerians so much. You should just put a petition attaching this information and submit to Cyber Crime Center. Before, after the U.S. Embassy, Central Area, that's where their office is, and they are doing serious job.
Okay, thank you. Well, it takes ingenuity and people with a high cognitive dissonance to organize fraud, particularly online fraud. And if you take a look at that report, it was well crafted, well articulated, using pictures in the studio, purportedly to be a live show interview with the CEO, and they're talking about.
They even got people protesting,
yes,
from our release
with placards.
Artificial intelligence.
Of course, it was AI generated.
The story is so believable.
In fact, any unsuspecting professional, it's only a professional that will know that this was a job.
Okay.
But a non-professional, to give them kudos. This is a very good story. Yes. Whereas it's false.
And then log into the website, and that's just.
And yes, and you see the thing there. You say,
the website is there. We'll not dignify them like you said by mentioning.
No, we will dignify them.
People operating it, and they can be arrested by Cyber Crime Center.
Okay. It is our tradition and culture here that we kickstart every conversation on a lighter note with our icebreaker, but tonight is not a lighter note. This is a very, very serious matter. But moving on.
National security issue.
Moving on to our main topic tonight is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Sunday, 18th March 2025, joined other world leaders to attend the inauguration mass of the new head of the Roman Catholic Church, Pope Leo XIV, at the Vatican City. The president, who arrived Rome on Saturday, felicitated with the new pope on his ascendancy to Catholic papacy. At the end of inauguration mass, President Tinubu, like other world leaders, took his turn to shake hands and exchange pleasantries with the pope, where he told newsmen afterward that he felt good being part of the inauguration of the new pope. He said his visit was consistent in the true sense of unity in diversity, and I quote, "I am greatly honored. We have to continue to work on it. It's a work in progress for the sake of our country and the continent as a whole." I think we have pictures here. Our director is going to be displaying them. On the sideline of the ceremony, he met with Labour leader, presidential candidate in the 2023 poll, Peter Obi, and former Ekiti State Governor, Dr. Kayode Fayemi. You can see them right there. Both of them staunch Catholics. Well, let me quote what presidential spokesman Bayo Onanuga said on tweet shortly after they returned to Nigeria. I mean, they are yet to return to Nigeria. The president is set to be on his way tomorrow. He's coming back to the country by tomorrow. On his verified X handle, Bayo Onanuga said, Fayemi cited President Tinubu, where he sat with other leaders and asked Obi to follow him to pay homage to the Nigerian leader. Obi agreed. On getting to the president, Fayemi broke the ice between Obi and Tinubu. He said, "Mr. President, welcome to our church and thank you for honoring the Pope with your presence." President Tinubu, ever quick-witted, responded, "I should be the one welcoming you and Peter. I am the head of the Nigerian delegation." The president's response cracked up Obi, who agreed with the president. Obi said, "Yes, indeed. We are members of your delegation. Peter Obi and Fayemi are staunch Catholics and Papal Knights. End of quote. Tinubu had earlier on arrival in Rome on Saturday been hosted to a dinner by Vatican Secretary of State, Cardinal Pietro. In a post on his verified official handle, the president said their dialogue was marked by a spirit of fraternity and a shared vision for peace, mutual respect, and global solidarity. He said Nigeria deeply valued the Vatican's long-standing goodwill and reaffirmed the country's commitment to interfaith dialogue, tolerance, and cooperation in what he described as an increasingly polarized world. Well, gentlemen, we are here in the studio. Like I said, our viewers, who in turn our vibrant callers, we're going to open the telephone lines, but let's lay the foundation. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu led the delegation to the Vatican. He is a Muslim, and no doubt about that, about his faith, even though he's married to a pastor. You know, it is quite symbolic for a president that leads a country that is so divided along so many fault lines, including religion, you know, as our serious impediments to development. But I feel personally elated that Mr. President was looking dapper in his suit with his, you know, long tie, and exchanging pleasantries with the Pope, the Vatican, and among few world leaders who were invited. You know, African leaders, about 4 or 5 of them were invited, and including President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Well,
don't forget that the Pope is an head of state.
Yes.
He is an head of state.
He is an head of state.
So then we have a large population of Catholics in Nigeria. I think it's just normal that the Vatican will extend, you see, that kind of invitation to our president to attend the inauguration of the new Pope, Pope Leo. So the president going there, he didn't go there as a Muslim or Christian or whatever. He went there as a leader of Nigeria. Nigeria comprised of people of different faiths.
That's right.
So, and you know, it's like in the African culture, once you become the king, you are the religious leader. So all religion under your whatever, you are part of them.
Exactly.
So as president of Nigeria, is the leader of Nigerian Muslims, the leader of Nigerian Christians, the leader of Nigerian traditional worshippers, is representing us there. And it's a good thing that Nigeria was invited.
Okay.
It also shows our importance, not just in Africa, but in world global politics, and especially in the religious circle, because I'm sure there are more Catholics in Nigeria than probably some other countries.
That's true.
Especially in Africa.
Okay, what did he? Let's go to the foundation.
The inauguration of Pope Leo was so significant in the sense that, just like our principal said, he extended the invitation to almost all global leaders. And that shows that he is not just the Pope of the Catholic Church, but he is like the world leader. And the direction of his philosophy, leadership philosophy, shows he wants peace, global peace. And for the fact that he's looking for peace globally, it was right for him to invite in almost all the leaders across the globe, and the different religions too. He extended invitation to them, to their leaders. Like he invited the Hindus, the Jewish leaders, and about 7 different other religions apart from Christian. He invited almost everyone, because if you look at what is happening globally today, you see that if we need peace, like his agenda now, global peace, that is his agenda. Since he's pursuing peace globally, he needs to talk to these leaders that he's going to work with going forward. And in every society that peace is the center of your agenda, what you need to deal with first is injustice. And if you look at what is happening across the globe today, injustice is the reason for even some of this insecurity crisis across Africa and across the globe. Injustice. And like he said, he talked so much about suppressing the poorest. Suppression. Leaders suppressing some sessions of the poor, and that again is talking partially to the Western world, because Pope Leo that we know, I think he has served in Africa for more than 30 years of his life. He has stayed within African continent for more than 30 years, and he understands Africa so much. And for the fact that he understands Africa, he understands the problem that is challenging Africa before and even now. He knows that the suppression and this imperialism of the West against the African nations is what is causing mostly the crisis, the problem, like insecurity in Nigeria. It is speculated that some external bodies, they are the one fueling the crisis in some part of Nigeria where there is mineral resources. They want to wipe off a community, then come to take over, just taking the raw material from here. Well, not that they are here to processing the raw material for our development, but just to come take the raw material to their country. And that is oppression. If you need peace, there's every need for you to talk to these world leaders, for them to listen to you. This is my direction. This is my direction, and I want all leaders of the world to see that this is the path that we need to follow this time around. And I think I am seeing him succeeding, because he's not seeing himself. And he talk again that about the fact that some religion, they are seeing other religion to be inferior, seeing their own religion to be superior. He doesn't want that at all.
He doesn't want it
at all. And once that is maintained, there will be global peace. If they can pursue all of this sequentially the way he wants it, I think there will be peace across the world.
Okay, really. One of my key takeaways at that meeting with Pope Leo was the fact that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, our dear president, spoke in tandem, in the same token, with Pope Leo XIV, where both of them talked about the need for global peace, and that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu talked about the need to use our diversity as our strength in this country. And well, he led the delegation, and I remember Archbishop of Owerri, and the president of the Catholic Bishops Conference of Nigeria, Lucius Ugoji, thanked President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for facilitating their visit to the Vatican to bury the late Pope Francis and witness the inauguration of Pope Leo. Archbishop Kaigama was there, as well as Bishop of Sokoto Diocese, Bishop Hassan Matthew Kuka, where Lucius Ugoji said the development signaled a new era of a more robust relationship between the President and the Catholic Bishops' Conference. And he said, and let me quote what he said: "You are always there for us. Now that you have come to the Vatican, whenever we have a conference in Nigeria, we will also invite you, and we look forward to interfacing with you, just as you were able to do with the Holy Father." End of quote. That is very, 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 very symbolic. In a country where we are stratified along religious lines as our bane, we intentionally made religion our fourth line, our difference our fourth line, rather than making it our strength. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has never been known to be a bigot. He has lived with a wife that has been a pastor. They have lived together for decades. Nobody will ever accuse him of using bigotry. It is even said that 62% of his cabinet are made of Christians. So that is quite symbolic coming back home.
Well, you see, it's a good thing to say. It's a good thing to do. The thing is that if you want to succeed as a Nigerian leader, you cannot play up ethnic or religious card if you want to succeed. Because the moment you like you said, those two areas have become our fourth lines in this country. So the moment you touch that and promote one section or one religion above the other, then you are looking for trouble. Yeah. So any sensible leader of Nigeria will know that treat Nigerians equally. And one good thing about, you see, this the government now is trying to show us Nigerians that this country belongs to everybody. And you see, even like you said, the choice of cabinet members, 62% Christians, I'm not sure the man deliberately went out to do that.
He went after merit.
He just chose people, and there happen to be more
inadvertent.
There happen to be more Christians. And one thing that people should also know is, and you should also notice this: the other faiths, they are not complaining. I haven't heard anybody complain that, oh yes, he's favoring this, he's favoring that. If at all somebody has anything against any of his ministers, it's probably because he's not doing well and they want changes. Not that because he belongs to this faith or belongs. So if we, even as Nigerians, should imbibe that, the peace that the Pope is talking about will be achieved in this country. You see, just like Richard said, people with vested interests coming to create an atmosphere of crisis in our country, in our society, just because of their own vested interests. And if they are genuinely interested in peace, you know, it's a good thing that we're having the first American as a Pope. And maybe that could also, and J.D. Vance, the Vice President of America, is a converted Catholic. So I think he converted 2019, so from what I read. So maybe that could help temper some of the decisions or actions of the American government. And now, I just read before I came to the studio that even the crisis between Russia and Ukraine, Trump is saying that the Vatican is ready to host a peace meeting between the two of them. So this symbolic act by the Pope could also reverberate around the world and tell and make people to want to say and embrace peace. And without apology to the Western world, they need to be talked to. Because if we don't have the support of the Western world, most of the crisis points we have around the world will not be there. The West is the leader of the free world, so-called free world. And it is their interest that is causing some of the things happening around the world. So if you have a leader in the Vatican that is preaching peace, that is an American, maybe you will be able to talk to the American leadership to lead the world very well, to lead the world in peace, so that will not be all. It's no longer pockets. We are having so many everywhere, so many imbalances, crises everywhere in the world, and everywhere you went, you go to. If you critically look at them, you see the hand of the West there. Okay. Now the Pope saying, "Let there be peace." That is his agenda of his papacy. Let us hope that the West and those stoking this fire around the world will listen, and there will be a peace. Okay.
Already before I come to you, let me quickly ask our director to display our telephone number so that our viewers, who are also our vibrant callers, will begin to call in to make the program interactive and conversational. KAFTAN TV saw the need for Nigerians to avail themselves, or to be availed of a platform where they can call in to verbalize their thoughts and cross-fertilize ideas. That was why the management floated this program, so that Nigerians, for once, can call in to ventilate their feelings with regards to programs and policies of government that are supposed to have direct bearing on their lives. Richard, I remember what Peter Obi came back to the country immediately shortly after the inauguration, but Mr. President is not returning today until tomorrow. When he came back, because of the picture, the iconic photographs that got traction on social media as well as mainstream media, he had to react. He reacted by saying, Nigerians should not politicize what happened in Rome, because we have a tendency here, particularly our politicians, of making a mountain out of a molehill. That was mere, happen chance, and Peter Obi and Fayemi have the right to attend that, inauguration as Catholics and as knights in Nigeria. But they met with Mr. President. It is only expedient for them to go and pay homage, in parentheses, let me put in a parenthesis, like Kairi Fayemi said to Peter Obi.
Yes, what they have done, they did very well by going to accord that respect to their president. No matter what, he is their president. Even if they have differences in political lineup, he is their president, And like the president responded to them, he is the leader of Nigerian delegation to the Vatican. And for that reason, they are not the one to welcome him. He was supposed to be the one to welcome them because he opened the door first before any Nigerian went there. So, and on the other side of it again, let me just still align myself with what our principal have said too. The agenda of Pope Leo, I think in one way he's championing the liberal ideology of the American. And the American ideology is democracy and open market economy, liberalization of the entire world. And in liberalism, liberal democracy champions peace and unity. That's right. And you don't use a force on anyone. But like is what is happening across the globe. Like our guy said, the crisis between Russia and Ukraine is just like I have more power than you, and I can do whatever I want to you, and that is what Russia is doing to Ukraine. If not, they have their right to choose which government, which type of government they want to operate. If they choose to say it's democracy we want, you don't have right to say you cannot practice what you want to practice. It's their right, but that they have superior power more than them, military power, economic power, and every power they have it more than them, and that is why they are using sledgehammer on them to say we must suppress you. Pope Leo is saying there should be no such marginalization across the globe, and he has said it openly that more Africans will be incorporated into the Cardinal Seco in his own administration. Because if you look at the number of cardinals across in the Vatican, you will see that Africa have more number of cardinals, and you see that as a marginalization on Africans. And coming down to Nigeria as well, our leaders have to equally look at that template. Are we marginalizing any session in favor of our own ethnic group? Is there anything that will show that what we are doing, we are not being fair to some session? Are we including other? Because democracy is all about inclusivity. If you include, everyone have to be part of the government. And if some session, if some people are saying that we are not being carried along, it means you have excluded them. And that is why some leaders don't have political legitimacy. And if you don't have legitimacy as a leader, you cannot equally use force out of a coercion to say you must believe in me that I'm your leader. And if it is going to election, democracy, the first indices of democracy is election. If you go into electoral process, is it fair? Is it acceptable by the people? If it is not, and you will not have their legitimacy. If you don't have their legitimacy, you don't have to force them to love you or to say you are their leader. And that is where we are having the crisis. And if you say you are taking development, like in some states of the federation today, some governors, the moment God give them the opportunity to become governor, they first of all take development to their own zone, local government area and the senatorial zone. And that any time the other session you have the opportunity to become the governor, you face your zone. It shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that. That is marginalization. That is not fairness. That is injustice. And those are things that Pope Leo is preaching against. If the entire leaders across the globe will follow this path that Pope Leo is doing today, I think we'll have total peace across the world. CEO is itching to say something.
Yeah, you see, yes, in part I agree with you. And let me start with the Peter Obi's admonition that we shouldn't see everything from the prism of politics. Of politics.
They didn't discuss anything spectacular.
I think it's just being clever by half. You see, when they went to greet the president, why did they go to greet him? If they didn't go, the president wouldn't have even noticed them.
Exactly.
So they have their own political thing. So reason for going to greet him. And you see, I'll give you an example. That one state in the U.S. recently, Trump visited. The state governor is a Democrat, a woman.
Yeah.
And you see, she not only attended that rally that Trump was, And Trump called her to the rostrum, and she wanted to shake Trump. But instead of shaking, Trump embraced her.
Okay.
Because of that photo opportunity that a Democrat and a Republican now embracing. You see, it could also go a long way to diffuse tension.
Yeah, that's true.
Among the political class, especially the followers. Now, if Nigerians are beginning to see, oh, maybe Obi and the president, they are trying to. You see, let us forget the two of them and look at that, the effect of that on our own politics, on our own people.
Yeah.
Because this polarization has actually caused mayhem in some places where people no longer want to see each other, friends no longer want to see each other because they belong to either the Labour Party or the APC. They are supporting Tinubu or they are supporting Peter Obi. So it's wrong of you to no really politics. No, what kind of thing is that? It's not politics that why did they get to go to greet the president? Was it because of politics? Was it out of respect? No. Just to be seen that I'm also a statesman.
Yes.
That's why I would. So everything is politics.
Everything is politics.
It depends on the way you look at it, but everything is politics. But it can be made a positive development. That Nigerians will say, oh, our leaders at least are talking. Let us also talk amongst ourselves. Yes. It could be used in a positive way. So that, to me, is just one aspect of it. Like, on this issue of peace thing, I still believe we need to do a lot in Nigeria. Our leaders need to do a lot. If now we have listened to Pope Leo preaching peace, let's come back home and institutionalize peace ourselves.
Exactly.
And maybe you can take heed from what I thank God you said the chairman of the, I don't know how it's called, chairman, Bishop, Catholic Bishop Conference, President Catholic Bishop Conference, now telling the President Tinubu that now that you have attended the papacy, the inauguration of the new Pope, when we have things to do in Nigeria, maybe that could be a positive fallout of the visit, and that could begin to change perception in Nigeria about our politicians. And because I believe either the church, the mosque, or any of these religious organizations should open their doors to our leaders. They should see them as one and part of them. Not it doesn't belong to my church, or it doesn't belong to my faith. No, because they are supposed to minister to souls. You see, one problem we have in this country is this. When we talk about Nigerian or Nigerian society or the people, we often forget that our leaders are also Nigerians. They belong to us. They are one of us, part of us. So if a pastor or an imam or a chief priest somewhere is also preaching to the people, you should also know that these our leaders are part of the people they preach to. So they should see them as members of their flock. It doesn't mean that they have to attend their church or their mosque. But if they see them as Nigerians, they are our leaders, but they also need to be ministered onto with the words of God. So if you take them as part of your congregation, then you see them as one. You don't segregate them. And so that when a president, a governor, or a leader, or chairman of the government does something bad, the religious leader should be able to say in such a way that will not antagonize or push that leader away. Because it's like what I don't know whether I'm quoting the right portion of the Bible where it says that the shepherd that left his flock to go after just one sheep or something. So now, if our religious leaders are actually sincere, if our leaders, political leaders, have done anything wrong, they should see them as that one sheep, lost sheep, and they should go after to bring back to the flock, so that we can have harmonious, peaceful society, and our leaders will be better focused. So if they did, I want to believe that the Catholic Conference didn't have to wait for the president to go to the inauguration of the Pope before they could invite him
That's
to
true.
their program. It should be a given. He's a Nigerian, he's our leader. And if you are actually tending to your flock in Nigeria, then you should tend to everybody and take everybody as one. So to me, it's one of the takeaways we should do. Our religious leaders should learn and should take away from that visit and from the statement by the president of the Catholic Bishop Conference. It's something that we need to
already, these are bishops that are genuine, not the packaged bishops that are.
The secretary of Christian Association, the statement from him, I will see it from this perspective. I will see it from the perspective of politics, because he wasn't too sincere to his statement, to be frank, to me. Because even before now, Nigeria as a country who practice secular democracy like India, and in secular democracy, the government don't segregate religion. Government support all the religion. It's the responsibility of government to support, and that is why during the time of General Ibrahim Babangida, he built a community center where they use as CAN today in Nigeria for Christians, and he equally built national mosques, central mosques for the Islamic religious group, and that shows clearly that government has never separated itself from religious practice in the country. And I have seen several times where, on several occasions, where the Christian Association of Nigeria are having programs, and they invite president, even vice president of this country, and they attend. So I don't think they have extended any invitation to this president before, and he declines. So coming up with that statement, and that statement to me is it can divide Nigeria. It can push Nigeria into another trouble. But like Oga said, Oga stated, every one of them have to come down from their high horses and put religion very far away from governance. And government, to me, in Nigeria, government recognizes all the religions, and they are not segregating. And I've not seen where Nigerian government is treating the Muslim religion with a strong hand, or where they are treating the Christian religion with strong iron hand. I've not seen since I grew up. But among us citizens, we practice, we have that differences of a religion, and using it, especially from among politicians during election period, you see them using religion to climb to power. And that is why you see the 2023 election was purely on religious and ethnic basis, because Obi won almost all his election on a religious line. And that is why even in Abuja, where Christians dominate, he won. In Lagos, where Christians dominate, he won. In Kaduna, he almost won. In Kaduna, in Nasarawa State, Christians dominate from Maraba down to Akwanga, where Christians dominate. He won in Nasarawa. And that shows clearly that the Obi's election was a religious line. Then on the ethnic line, Atiku won in almost all the Fulani control states. It was only President Bola Ahmed Tinubu who relied more on his own ethnic too, then go down and bring together all the minority ethnic groups in Nigeria, and they gave him vote together with the vote from his own ethnic group, and the vote that some Christians who believes in him gave him. That was how he became the president today. So we should always try to see how we will not bring that picture of religion as leaders for our followers to see, and we should always try to see that this ethnic line of thought don't overshadow our other national value perspective in our thinking.
Let's take our first caller, S. Odudu, joining us from Cross River State. Please, S. Odudu, you are our regular caller. Please go ahead. You have listened to us from the beginning.
Beautiful Nigeria with KAFTAN TV.
That's right.
And imagine it beautiful with KAFTAN TV.
You're welcome, S. Odudu. Good evening.
Good evening to you, the KAFTAN chief,
Kaftan Chief.
Good evening.
Captain Chief.
We unveiled him to you today.
We have unveiled him.
Good evening to you.
Thank you.
Our very wonderful host, Mr. Macaulay Honohasi.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Good evening to Honorable Dr. Richard Uriri.
Hi, Chief.
Our
Good evening, sir.
lead in-house analyst 2020.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening to our esteemed viewers. Yes, before I let my voice the topic, let me first of all start from our intro. Yes, it is a very common thing that people will look for a cheap way of making themselves popular. But when it affects someone's integrity you bet for years, it is worrisome. So on this note, please, Captain Chief, just as Dr. Riri advised, you have to take this matter up, take it seriously. You see this insecurity that is becoming a recurrent decimal. It is because of the way we are handling it. Why will you arrest a Boko Haram member and later you pardon, but you grant that grant the member or the suspect amnesty? So, it will continue to support others to be doing. What am I saying? If the people that are actually responsible for this this thing that they are trying to tamper with your reputation, if you know them, is to take them legally so that they pay for it. Thank you. Let me leave it there.
Go ahead.
Then the topic. First of all, congratulate the president. It is a very welcome development. I think the invitation is a clear demonstration that there is hope for us. There is hope even with the renewed hope. And we pray that this hope will actually come or bring about peace and unity. Because peace and unity, just as our panelists are saying, it is very, very important in any democracy. There cannot be development without peace. There cannot be development without unity. So, if you want to achieve this, they work hand in hand. And just as the new Pope actually said, we pray that even as the president returns, he should be able to make sure he capitalizes on these two important aspects of promoting peace and unity. If you look at this insecurity that is becoming a recurrent decimal in Nigeria, if you look at a large extent, there's absence of peace and unity, which is actually triggering this. Because look at, if there is peace and unity, you actually, there's that high level of people being involved in government, people being involved, people getting the democratic dividends. You are going to discover that even when they come with cheap offer to conscript you into killings, you will not accept. But just as my brother was telling me from Benue, a pregnant woman that was killed today, I was killed and the baby was removed and butchered. No, it's a very terrible thing. We need peace in this country. And lastly, please, the president, as he returns, issue as a matter of urgency, not just rely only on the security chief. In a move to promote this peace and unity, he should go by visiting these frontline states where we are recording this incident, Benue, Plateau, Niger, and others. You should go there and have on-the-spot assessment of what is happening, so that if possible we can mend fences. May God continue to bless us. May God bless KAFTAN TV.
Amen.
Good evening and good night to all.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night. We say amen to that.
Well, you see, I think he has made some profound
Yes.
comments that we need to appreciate and look at critically. You see, one area I think I will pick it up from the last comment he made about the president visiting these frontline states. Yes, I believe so. I believe so because you could also, you know, it could give a psychological boost to our security forces fighting all those bandits and terrorists over there. You know, one thing that the president did that I think, if properly implemented, could help us a lot to tame this monster called insecurity, is the establishment of the forest guards.
Yeah, yeah.
You see, if each state faithfully and diligently implements this, thank God there will be federal staff. They will be paid for by the federal government. But if locals were recruited in their states to go into all those forests, you see, there's no way a visitor, no matter how big the area of visitor is, can see as clearly as the locals. So now, if these people are empowered to go into the forest, they will know how to fish out those. But it's not that they cannot fish them out, but when they are fished out, what happens to all those terrorists?
That's true.
That's that should be the next step the president should take. Now, if we have established this forest guards, you said they should be armed and trained under the NSA as well as the Ministry of Environment. That's, I think they'll be under those two agencies. Now, trained, armed, now they go in, fish out those terrorists. Now, if they are fished out, they are caught, what happens to them?
Yeah.
Because we have had stories of people arrested, handed over to security agents, and later released and go back to what they were doing before. You know, I always say this thing. A thief will only go to a place where he knows he can escape with his loot.
Yes.
If he cannot escape with his loot, he won't go there and rob. So now, all these terrorists and whatever, if they know that when they are caught, there's no mercy, they will think twice, because they don't want to die as well. Whatever they are doing, they want to enjoy it. They want to enjoy it. So if they know that once they are caught, they are punished, and maybe it's death penalty, they will think twice before going into that venture called terrorism. So, yes, go put people in the bush to look to smoke out all these terrorists. But then when they are smoked out, what do you do to them? Okay, we should take that.
We have 1 minute.
The point you raised concerning the forest guard is where I want to react to. That angle of a forest guard, Nigerians are looking at it from another perspective, because since the president has directed that NSA should be the department to train them, I don't think they have that capacity. They should have asked the Nigerian military to create a department within the military that will be in charge of these forest guards, because the military, they are clearly known to be friendly with the forest. If not, if you push this department, this forest guards to another session, it means majority of Nigerian youth who will go into this forest guard recruitment, they will come from poor families, and that will seriously deplete the population of Nigerian youth, because they cannot have that experience to manage the forest with these criminals, and that will lead to too many deaths. If the Nigerian military can create a department within the military that will be in charge of this forest, it will be a perfect policy. Outside that, I don't think they will achieve much. Rather, we will keep recording more deaths, because these people going in, they will not have that experience at all. And on the last part of it, like we have said, and like Pope Leo have said, unity and peace is the only way forward for the entire world to have development. But if you look at it from another angle, without justice, you can't have peace anywhere in the world. So we should look at justice. Our leaders should put justice in their mind, in everything.
What is your final word?
Well, I will throw the same line as Richard, that let there be peace. And in the atmosphere where we have peace, there will be development. Yes. They go together. But when there is no peace, it can't be development. So let's have peace in the world. And those stoking trouble around the world, they should know that a day of reckoning will come.
Well, I told the same line with both of you, and there should be peace around the world. And who is going to provide that peace? Those saddled with the responsibility of leadership. As for the story of the forest guard, it is a developing story, and we will keep tap on it and continue to dish it out, to you as the events unfold. That's the size of our package tonight on Matters Arising, and I thank our viewers, especially our vibrant callers. Tonight it was only one caller, Esodudu. We thank you most profoundly for finding out time to call in. I know others have been trying to call, but the telephone lines have not been friendly. On behalf of our producer and the entire production team that made the program possible, I remain yours truly, Macaulay Honash, saying good night. See you tomorrow at 8 p.m. with another bumper outing by Dayo Omogun as he leads the team.
Viewers, thank you for being part of this program. See you next time.
Bye-bye. Good night.
And as we say on KAFTAN TV,
imagine a beautiful world. Imagine a beautiful Nigeria.